So yeah, bought this thing for 5,000 bucks. Small caveat. Have to actually get this airplane moved out of Ted Stevens International Airport to my backyard in Big Lake, Alaska. So this is the epic ballad of us basically taking apart this 108-foot wide massive airplane from the 50s and 40,000 pounds of metal, moving it up the highway to my house. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, well, why not just fly it out of there? It's an airplane, right? And I thought you were a pilot. Well, if you want to look really dumb, go ahead and just comment below that you should have flown it. You know, there'll be a lot of those comments down below. For all you guys who want to look really smart, go ahead and comment down below why you know we didn't fly it out of there. One of the million reasons of why not to fly it and just take it apart and truck it instead. So anyways, we'll go ahead and get to it, explain to you the whole process of taking this thing apart, getting it moved to the property here. We've done this 3 other times. Should be a walk in the park by this time, right? You know, most of you have already seen a lot of our other, well, you can see one right there in the background. Yeah. All of our other airplane houses, we already moved here to the property. We'll also explain to you why I'm holding the camera with one hand and why the other arm's just kind of in a sling. Yeah, that super fun story. But yeah, basically to get started, we had to get all of our tools together, borrowed a trailer from my neighbor, big 40-foot beautiful pink gooseneck, to hook up to my Chevy truck. And this is the trailer that's going to move this entire massive airplane out of Anchorage all the way to Big Lake. So first things first, we got there, showed up, and yeah, it's pretty big. Have to just kind of start looking for nuts and bolts. There's no user manual, no help or guidance from anybody, and we got to figure out how exactly this thing's going to come apart. So you start just looking for nuts, bolts, and undoing what you can without undoing the wrong thing at the wrong time. Now this is kind of cool. This is what I was waiting to see. How is this wing joined together exactly? So it's all those little guys, which are basically just little Allen keys on that side, and then it'll be the same deal, an Allen key, slightly bigger one on that side. So we'll have to get ourselves some of those, and that should, well, be the start of this wing coming off. And back here at the tail, what's exactly holding all this together?
Just 2.
Just 2. 1, 2. That ain't much.
Nope.
Well, should be easy enough. The elevator's gonna stay attached to it, and well, easy enough, not really. Getting that, this one's gonna be a pain in the butt, eh? How do you get to that nut on the back there? That is not, certainly would be easy enough if you had exactly the right tools, but a little limited on those tools, so we'll try to improvise and see what we can do. I decided it was time to switch gears and see if we could get the rear doors of the aircraft off, so I started working on that while Tyler kept messing with those horizontal stab bolts, and that gave us our first load to take home. Tonight's load going home. We've got the rear doors off the airplane. It's kind of big and awkward. And then got some of the inner parts emptied out. All right, end of day 1. We've got all our stuff back here at the lodge. Unloading it very gently. Yep, gentle is what we do with the airplane cylinders.
Oh yeah, gently.
Foxtrot, was that gentle? Questionable if it was gentle. Massive problem. So we rented a telehandler for the week and needed a 10,000 pound telehandler. They're like, yeah, but it's broke right now. That was 2 weeks ago. How about our 8,000 pound one? I'm like, nah, will it be ready in 2 weeks? They're like, oh, for sure. It'll be ready in just a week. And then, yeah, they called me very last minute just to say, oh yeah, it's not ready. Sorry, it'll be ready in a couple more weeks. I said, okay, how about that 8,000 pound one? They're like, oh, sorry, it's rented now. It's not available. So we have no forklift to remove engines and props and other things tomorrow. So I think the unbolt and shuck method is perhaps what we'll be using on the engines and props and the other parts of the airplane, because for whatever reason, it seems to be difficult for the company that we're buying the aircraft from. They don't want to let us use one of their forklifts, one of their many that are parked there. They don't want their guys to drive the forklifts for us. We can't rent it, pay them money, pay one of their guys to operate it, or any of the above. So, yeah, awesome. Okay, day 2. It's not raining yet, which is kind of a nice thing. Still no forklift. Called 25 different places. No forklifts available this week. Called some buddies. They're working on it. May not go super well for us. Still can't use the forklift parked 100 feet over there from Everett's. Don't know why. So yeah, game plan today is get the wings taken off, get the props off, get the engines off, get the horizontal stab off. Very lofty goals, especially without a forklift. We'll see how it goes. Nope. Is that all the water they're gonna give them? That's sorry, due to budget cuts, your retirement water show has been reduced drastically. Not really the most productive day, but luckily had an extra set of hands from Wilson, who helped remove some of those wing bolts from the top of the wing there that we had uncovered day 1, and spent the rest of the day trying to round up this telehandler. Finally came up with one from a buddy, was able to get it trucked over there. And we were able to, through lots of tugging, yanking, and pulling, get one of the propellers off, and that was pretty much all we accomplished on day 2. Just removing a lot of bolts, getting ready to remove bigger stuff, getting that prop off, and then heading home, leaving the trailer behind with nothing really to haul home, and wishing for the best for day 3. Now, this certainly is not the world's biggest telehandler. In fact, I believe it is the world's smallest telehandler. Not really in the best of mechanical shape, but it did get that first prop loaded on there. Airplane looks way less cool without the propeller. And now we're working on getting the second prop off of there. To get these propellers off, this is your oil dome right here. So this is the front cap of the prop. It's big. It's big and heavy. That gear in there turns the gears in the hub of the propeller to turn the blades. So how this works is tap a big old locking ring. As it turns and turns around, eventually this hub comes off of here. The hub's pretty dang big and heavy. And then inside there's some more stuff to take out. And then eventually put the gigantic torque multipliers on and all that craziness to actually remove the locking nut that holds the prop to the engine. Remove a little snap ring. Remove a little locking key. Well, those cotters are really hard to get to, so just try to turn them with an Allen key and see what happens. Yeah, got lucky. Cool, get lucky 2 more times. Looks important. All right, time for the big guns. Step 1, big old thing, remove big old thing from in there. Go ahead and line her up. Now smack it. Smack it like you mean it. Are you an aircraft mechanic?
I am now.
Oh, you are now. Look at that. We're going to go over to the little laser printer in there and print out some A&P certificates.
That's all they do anyway.
I know. Yeah. I saw a guy become an A&P. They just went over to the computer. They typed some stuff in. He printed out a certificate. He said he was an A&P. Yeah. Nothing else to it. You know how you become an IA?
Teach another A and P.
No. If you stand in the corner and don't pick up the tools, and you just watch the other guy work, then you're an IA. Yeah.
Oh, I already am one.
Oh, right, I know, yeah. Yeah, you don't do a lot. Yeah. I learned this trick from an IA. Just ready? 1, 2, 3. Nope. Almost. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Old Indian trick right there. All right, now time for the other big old piece of equipment. All right.
Dad, you remember which way to turn it?
Righty, loosey, lefty, upside down.
How did you do this before?
Push down like you mean it. Oh, it's going. Maybe. It's thinking about it. And just like that, Tyler's finished. So I decided to put the camera down for a few minutes and jump in and help out Tyler. We got that thing broke free. Of course, didn't have the camera rolling when we pulled the prop, but look at what we managed to do. Now, only highly skilled IAs, people that are even more skilled than A&Ps, would be able to do something as f***ed up as that.
We fixed it.
You fixed it?
Fixed it, yeah.
We fixed it. That was the problem all along with this airplane. It needed the prop blade jammed directly into the engine. Now guess who's not allowed to run the telehandler anymore? Anyways, moving on to the next step.
Better than the last one.
So next up, it was time to pull an engine. And since we were already on the left side of the aircraft, figured, hey, let's go ahead and pull the left engine. Should just be a couple bolts. Should just be 4 bolts holding on. Shouldn't be that crazy to do it. In fact, there was enough little few things snagging it up with hoses and lines and air boxes and whatever that the camera went dead before we could actually get it off the airplane. But once we got that one off and loaded on the trailer, it was pretty much dusk, and it was like, hey, you know, it'd be a shame to not have a full trailer going home. Let's see if we can put in a few extra hours and get this other one off. It did go a lot quicker getting the right engine off the aircraft once we kind of knew what it was that we were doing. Well, kind of burning the midnight oil here, so really trying to make that load right there a full 2 props and 2 motors. Luckily, Tyler's a good sport, and he's up there undoing the number 3 bolt. 2 bottom ones are already off. We did do a little test pick. The nose gear came way up, and but it did not sit on its butt, because I am very afraid that this whole airplane will just sit right on its butt when this engine comes off. But it seems like it'll stay on its nose for now. So 3rd bolt's coming out. Then we got the 4th one in that corner up there. Was actually pretty relieved and excited when we pulled into the lodge at midnight, pitch black, but with everything still firmly attached to the trailer. I believe that worked out. It's midnight. Can't see it, but there's a propeller there. And 2 gigantic freaking engines. Oh. Oops. So, I think that is new.
Huh?
Was that on the trailer when we left, or was that on the motor?
Oh, fuck.
Correct.
How many of those were there?
That's a fantastic question to ask, good sir. Yeah, no, we're good. I left it. There's... Or how? Oh no, that's not.
3 of them.
Ah, shoot. But luckily, yeah, it turns out they were all still at the airport. Nothing fell off the trailer and onto the highway. That was the main concern there. Turns out those weren't secured to the engines as well as we had thought. But the next morning, it was time to get that very awkward load off of the trailer. First things first, removing 1 propeller at a time. Well, turns out both are coming at the same time, so probably easier just to do that. Quite the view from up in the basket looking down, using the genie lift to move that stuff around. Excavator's still broken. Anybody know a trick for fixing a O-ring on the bottom of a cylinder liner that's leaking? If you do, leave that in the comments below, because, yep, no excavator. So we're using the genie lift and using the wheel loader to get the engines, because the genie lift's not going to lift 5,000 pounds. Those are about 5,000 pounds a piece with all the engine mount, engine, blah, blah, accessories, all that stuff on there, perhaps even a little bit more. So, got those off of there. Headed on back down to Anchorage to the airplane to go ahead and remove the horizontal stabilizer. Quite the adventure there of tugging, jerking, undoing bolts, jumping up and down, seeing if we could get things to come loose. Trying to make the airplane not fall on its butt and keep the nose mostly on the ground. And finally, the horizontal stab came free, which left us with the next step, which was removing the right wing. So how much faith do you have in your aircraft? These guys had so little faith in this boxcar that this hatch, guess what this hatch is for? You open it, you jump in there, and And you fall the
Fall
F
out to the bottom.
Yeah, you fall out the bottom. That is the emergency bailout hatch. And back to trying to get the right wing removed from the aircraft. So, turns out a lot of bolts to try to get this thing out of here. Turns out there's a lot of webbing attached throughout the spar, down deep inside the wing, where technically you could unbolt these wings. We tried with like a 5-foot long breaker bar. Nobody had a 6 or 8 foot long breaker bar for us to borrow, and we could not get these gigantic bolts out of there. We had no idea what it was we were gonna do. We tried using the 9X rivet gun to pound them out. So in the end, it was decided that we were just going to remove as much as we could, and then hopefully use the forklift to push down on the wing, run some straps around the forklift to break the webbing, allow the wing to pivot down about 2 remaining bolts that were in there that were very large that we could not get out. They probably had never been removed since the airplane was built back in the 50s. And we're going to, in a very controlled way, with the forklift, lower the wing down to the ground and then cut out those 2 remaining bolts and remove the wing off the aircraft. Then Tyler walked out there to attach the strap around the wing to the forklift, and it's not a diving board, but yeah, so that successfully detached the remaining webbing from inside the wing spar, and the wing was down on the ground, and it was time for us to just go ahead and cut and grind some on the remaining attach points there. Sadly, this means the wings will not go back on the aircraft, but at the moment, I am leaning to the final purpose of this airplane being either a 5th wheel RV or possibly a drivable RV motorhome if we can put it on a rolling bus frame, rather than making it into another Airbnb or coffee shop or whatever. But I would love to hear in the comments below what you guys think the best use of this airplane would be. So comment below if you think it should be a coffee shop, an Airbnb, a library, a bar, whatever it should be. I'm leaning more towards RV or 5th wheel that we can drive around and go tour around to some flight schools and airports down the lower 48, but open to suggestions on this still. Either way, lots of cutting and grinding, and we were able to successfully get that wing off of there, loaded onto the trailer, along with the horizontal stab, and although it was not quite the large load I was hoping for going home, it was large enough, and that was another successful night of getting some parts moved back to the lodge, out of Anchorage. Piece by piece, this airplane is migrating to the Flight Mike Alpha Pilot Lodge. That was Thursday, day 4, and the next day was day 5. We decided it would be best to go ahead and try to attack these tail booms.
Uh-oh.
Now, those tail booms are a lot bigger than they look. Even these gear doors, that was the first step, is remove the gear doors, try to protect them. They're like 9 feet long, pretty heavy actually. Could make some nice bench seats or something. I have no idea what we'll really use them for. And then Tyler was up inside there with the cutting wheel, working his way through some stringers, and trying to get the tail booms to separate from the back of the engine nacelle. This seemed to be the best way to do it, to preserve the tail booms and be able to load them onto a trailer for later use, essentially.
Oh boy, that made the forklift wiggle a little bit. Hey, I found the CG! Oh shit, get down here and get a tagline on it!
The wind did not really help the situation there. That is a gigantic sail. If you cannot tell from the bottom of the tail skid to the top of the vertical, I was like, what is that, like 8, 9 feet? No, it's something more along the lines of 17 feet tall. So it is a massive piece there, sitting on the trailer.
Man, we finally catch a freaking break, because this thing is 19.9 as it is, and 20 feet does not really go down the road. So if we can get under 17, which we will, if we drop this whole tail skid off of here. Luckily underneath here, that is our lucky brake. That thing bolts on. We can unbolt this tail skid. Doesn't look like it's attached back here at all, it's just a gap seal. And so should just be bolted on there, and then probably up front as well. And we'll be in pretty good shape to drop this thing down. This is a massive freaking tail boom, but it'd be pretty cool. I think we're gonna make a front gate entrance out of this. So, kind of excited for that.
Now, of course, what was left for the day was to go ahead and remove the other tail boom, get that loaded on the trailer, try to make this trailer load count with 2 tail booms on the trailer at once. And then because we didn't really want to drive this thing during rush hour with all this stuff hanging off the trailer, we decided to spend a little bit extra time there and try to get the left wing to at least break free partially from the airplane, at least get the top bolts undone, maybe break the spar webbing, and try to let it down a little bit more gentle than the right wing came down.
Get ready to run! You got 3 inches. It's supported by the forklift right now. I gotta lower the forklift. It's coming down. You're on the pallets. Dang, you fat. Run! Run! Run!
So we were able to at least get that broken free, get it down resting on some pallets. Yeah, operating the forklift while holding the camera, kind of difficult. Go ahead and feel free to support us on Patreon so we can get some money to buy a tripod, I guess. That would make life a lot easier. But that was it for Friday. It had been quite a long week, a lot of frustration along the way, and so we elected to take 2 days off, try to refresh, clear our minds, get some rest, and be fresh, ready to go for the next week, so we weren't going to be doing anything dumb or dangerous. Because, yeah, you don't want to get hurt. So took that weekend to just go have some fun, fly around, experience the last little bit of float flying that we really have for the season up here because the lakes are going to be freezing soon. Beautiful weekend of flying, and then we showed up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed Monday morning to go ahead and bring that left wing down. And yeah, pretty much complete the job. It was definitely going to be moving, hopefully Tuesday night if all went well, Wednesday night at the latest to move the fuselage out of there. And then, yeah, big oopsie. Really, really big oopsie. That hurt a lot.